Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hamlin, aka the Laptop Legend, and in today's video, I'm just gonna dive right into it to not waste your time. This is the tutorial of SpeedTrader, which is my absolute favorite brokerage for trading OTC stocks. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So you can see here, this is what my setup currently looks like. You might not, well, I'm probably gonna put my face right here. But basically, I have this set up so that I can record pretty easily, but there's just a few main things that you're gonna need in your SpeedTrader platform. And honestly, most things are pretty similar between all brokerages, like, you know, the chart page, the level 2 page, the time and sale, all that stuff. It's pretty similar. But if you've never used Dash Trader, that is what SpeedTrader Pro runs on. Dash Trader is probably the most widely used trading software by really good traders because it's so customizable and it's honestly just the best. So you can use Dash Trader with a lot of different brokerages, and that's what's cool about this because I personally use Dash Trader with Cobra. There's a way to use Dash Trader with TD Ameritrade even. You can use it with Interactive Brokers. A lot of these really good brokerages, you know, like where you have to pay a little bit more, but you have, you know, more customizable stuff like CenterPoint, all that stuff. All of that you can use Dash Trader. So this tutorial kind of goes for all of those things, but I'm specifically making this for SpeedTrader Pro just so you guys can see. So to save your desktop, it can be kind of annoying if you don't know where to go and how to do it. So what you want to do is you go to File and you go to Save Desktop. It seems pretty straightforward. So, you know, anytime that you make a change on this that you want to keep and have it, you know, next time you open Dash, you want to have it keep that change. You want to save it to make sure you don't lose that. And honestly, if you're following along with this video and building, I would just periodically save it in case it crashes or in case anything happens, so you don't lose all the progress that you made. And there's a specific place that you want to save it so that it defaults when you open. Because otherwise, you know, if you save it just anywhere on your computer, you're gonna have to every single time you open this, you're gonna have to go and open the correct desktop because it's gonna default to the wrong one. So you want to make sure that when you save it, you are saving it under Windows C. So to find that, you go to this PC, you go to Windows C, and then under that, you're gonna have all these different DASs. I have DAS for TD Ameritrade, I have Cobra, and then I have SpeedTrader. So if you're doing this for SpeedTrader, you would go here, and you're gonna see this file. It's called default.dsk. You're gonna wanna click on that. So I'm still getting over Rona, guys. My apologies. You're gonna wanna click on that, and you can see, you know, it defaults to this. So when you hit save, now it's gonna save what you just made as default.dsk, and that is what this will automatically default to when you open up SpeedTrader, or you open up DAS, from having it be closed. So this means that you're not gonna have to reload this desktop up because it's not gonna default to anything else. So this is where you wanna save your file, and again, that's under Windows C, under this PC, Windows C. SpeedTrader, click on this, hit save. It's gonna say this already exists. You want to overwrite, and you hit yes, and that's how you do it. So, yep. Let's pull this up right here so you guys can see how to get everything. All right, so here you can see this is the main window for Dash Trader, and there's a couple things that you're gonna want here for when you're using SpeedTrader, and that is number one, this account. And number two, the short locate. And these are the two things that you don't need to always be looking at, but it's nice to be able to check these at the end of the day. So I leave these within this overall window right here. And I normally keep this minimized off the page. So when I want to locate something or see what my overall profit on the day is, I pull it up here. And the way you pull all of these windows up, everything you're seeing here is all through this menu right here. So if I go here, you can see I go to trade and accounts. That's where you pull up this. So that's how you get that. And you want to customize these columns to make them, whatever is important to you. But just so you know, there's a difference between realized and net P&L because there's several different fees that you're gonna be charged because this is a direct access brokerage, and you get a lot of benefits from having that. So because of that, you pay a premium, and that's totally fine. And honestly, I'm very okay with that. So if I go in here, you can see I have realized, unrealized, equity, buying power, overnight buying power, tickets, shares, and net P&L. So these are the important columns. To edit that, you just go to config, and you can move around all these columns. This is the order that I have it in, so feel free to just copy me there. I have the account minimized, so it doesn't show that because it's not important. I just have one account here, so I don't need to see that. I have that column basically moved all the way over. But all the other ones here, I think they're pretty important, so I leave it like that. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the account tab right here. It should default to have this here. Now, again, realized is going to be, you know, what you've technically realized on a ticker, but the net P&L, I guess not just a ticker, all the tickers, but the net P&L is going to be what your actual profit and loss is on the day, including all fees, everything except for locate costs. And another way that you can see this actually is if I go right here, you can go to you can go to trade and you go to account report at the bottom here. And that pulls up this page right here. I'm gonna have to blur out my account number right here, but you can see it shows the equity in the account. It shows the buying power, very similar things, but it actually gives you a breakdown more of what all the different fees are at the end of the day. So typically, you know, there's some SEC fees, not too many, some FINRA fees. Here's the commissions you paid on the day. Here's the ECN, which is the routing fees that you paid. And then after all of that, you know, you take all those out, it shows you your net P&L. Including everything except, again, the locate costs. So this is pretty cool if you want to see a breakdown, but all of this is basically calculated here in the net P&L, so you don't need anything else besides that. So one thing that I do want to talk about very quickly before I dive into anything else is just the fact that DAS is very customizable in the fact that you can do a lot of things with these windows. So if I show you this right here, I can right click basically at the top, anywhere from, you know, here to here. So if you right click, it gets this frame window configure. So there's a couple cool things you can do here. Number one, you can remove the title bar, which is pretty cool. So if I go like this, it actually makes it a lot smaller and it takes up less space. So there's if you have like a very cramped window and you need to maximize your utilization, if you don't have a massive 49-inch curve, well, double 49-inch curve screen like I do here, you're gonna wanna probably do something like this so you don't waste space with all these bubbles at the top. Now, I have a big enough screen, I don't really care, but it's just something cool that you can do like that. Another thing is always on top. And this means that, you know, basically it's gonna always be on top, even if it's popped out. So what's cool is I can pop this out right here, and now I can drag this off of this little window here. Before, you know, if you make an MDI child to go back, before it like stays within this window. But if you pop it out, boom, now I can drag this anywhere. I can put this, you know, anywhere that I want on the desktop, which is how I customize all this stuff and get it off of this window. And if you want to make sure it's always on top, once it's popped out, you just click this little box and commit. And, you know, now even if you click on, you know, something else that, you know, maybe this goes on top here, this is still going to stay on top. So that is pretty cool. And I'm definitely a big fan of that. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. All right, so now that I've gone over that stuff, you have the account, you understand how to pop stuff out, how to move it around. I do want to talk about the short locate because it's the other thing that I have right here. And this is basically where you can get your shares reserved / located to short of specific stocks. And this is one thing that is so amazing about SpeedTrader over other brokerages that I've used in the past for shorting OTCs, you know, like Schwab, for example, or Fidelity. On those, you pay every single time you want to short the stock. And if they run out of shares after you cover, you know, say you're scalping a stock on the short side, this happens with a lot of you guys on Tencent, you know, you're shorting and then you cover, you have to repay again to short those same shares, which is really, really annoying. But here, all you got to do is you type in the symbol, you know, say ILUS, right? You type in the amount of shares you want to locate, say 100,000 shares. You hit inquire. Now, if you use the Axos clearing, there is only going to be one clearing, I guess, one locate route, which is broad. I don't know why it's called broad, but it is. If you use the other one, which I don't recommend if you trade OTCs, you're going to have 4 different locate routes. And, you know, that's going to allow you to really get a lot of locates on those low float NASDAQs. But for me, again, you know, I use this brokerage for OTC. So only going to have one locate route. So there's no difference between inquire and inquire all, because inquire all would be at all the different routes, but there's only one route, so you can just hit inquire. And at this point, because it's a holiday, I'm filming this on Martin Luther King Day, the markets are closed, nothing is gonna come up, but basically you hit inquire, and it's gonna pop up down here, and it's gonna tell you if they have any shares available to locate. And for stuff like this, you know, ILUS, AITX, HMBL, pretty much all the main traders, it's like pretty much infinite shares for free to reserve. And so you just accept the offer and boom, now I have 100,000 shares of ILUS that I can short all day long. I can cover and I can re-short using those same shares. And even if everyone else runs out of shares, I still have these shares located for all day long, which is super, super helpful. So I'm a big fan of that. Sometimes, you know, it's going to be a little more expensive. It's not going to be free. Most of the time, honestly, I found with these locates, it's free. But sometimes, you know, it's going to be like 0.001 cent per share. So, you know, if you're locating a bunch of shares, it could be like, you know, $10, or it could be $100, whatever it is. But it's pretty much always worth it if there's going to be an opportunity on that stock, because again, you have these shares for all day long. And something I do want to mention real quick is, typically speaking, on these OTC stocks, if they're a very low float stock that you have, it's going to buy you in after a certain amount of time if there's not enough shares available to locate, and like basically the clearinghouse is net short. They're gonna have to buy you in after a certain amount of time. So guaranteed, if you want to swing something short, if you short it on Monday, the earliest you will be bought in is like Thursday morning. So that's pretty much their guarantee. It's like T+2 is what you're guaranteed for. So just know that if you short like a super low float OTC that goes crazy, and then you know, they run out of locates and you're trying to swing short for like a week or something, you're probably going to get bought in on that Thursday if you short on a Monday. So if you short on a Tuesday, you get bought in on Friday, etc. And they can automatically buy you in at any price. So just keep that in mind. But typically, you know, you're going to be using this for intraday trades and you're not going to be swinging these short. The 250 rule, again, is always a thing. So to short 100,000 shares of a stock, doesn't matter what the price is, doesn't matter if that's only, you know, a $5,000 position, it doesn't matter. You're still going to need to have $250,000 in your account. So you can see I have almost 500,000, just a little bit less. So I think I can short, what is that? You know, 190,000 shares or something like that, 93,000, something like that. Once I get to 475, that will be 195,000 shares, unless I'm tripping. No, I think my math is off. I think that'll be 190. So I don't know, whatever I am. I'm like 180, 187 right now, something like that. So if you have like, you know, a $25,000 account, a $50,000 account, you're only going to be able to locate and short, you know, 10,000 or 20,000 shares. So just keep that in mind and don't forget that. So that's pretty much it for this window here. Now I want to talk about some of these other things that I have going on the side here, and basically right here. So again, you're going to want to have all of this. All of these things because they're all important. So I'm just going to talk about first how you pull them up and then how you customize them. So if I go here, you can see trade. This is where you get several of these things. So trade is where you get Montage. So that is this box right here. It's also that box right there, and it's also that box right there. And that basically includes the level 2, and that includes you know, this ability to place these orders down here. So that is pretty freaking cool, and that's how you pull that up. So, you know, you click on that and you click Montage, and it pulls up a brand new Montage. Again, you know, you can pop this out. You can get rid of the title bar. You can do all that stuff. You can move it around, etc. So you know, that's where that is. So then the next thing you're going to want is I guess starting to build over here. You want the time and sales. So you pull that up like that, and this is customizable. If you right click here, you hit config, you can change a lot of different things about this. Honestly, I'm going to get into that in just a second. I just want to show you guys how you pull that up. So you got that. The other thing that you want is the charts. So that's also under quotes. So you go quotes and you go to chart and you pull that up. So you're thinking, all right, well, that's cool and all, David, but you know, what's going on with this? Why is it blank? How do I link these things? All right, well, let me get into that. So let me pop these out just so they're not right there, just so you can see this. So what you're going to want to do first is you're going to want to type in a ticker, you know, call it Apple, just so we can see this here. You can see it pulls up and it fills everything in the Montage. You're going to want to take this this little anchor and you're going to drag it to the chart, and that links it to the Montage. And then let's go 1 day, just so you can see that it actually pulls stuff up. Then you're going to want to take this and you're going to drag it here, and that's how you link it to the Montage. So now this is automatically linked to Apple. If I change it to, you know, Microsoft, it's going to automatically change both the chart and this to Microsoft, which is pretty cool. So I'm a big fan of that. Now let's go. I guess, you know, let's I guess talk about the other two things over here first before I go into customizing this, because there's a lot of things you can customize on there. So let's talk about the other things real quick. So the two things, not two things, I guess the three things that I have right here. So let's go into that. Right here I have my positions. This is my positions tab. So to do that, it's under trade, and you go to positions and you click on that. I personally like to have with close positions, so you can pull that one up. You can also change that if you go to config. You can show 0 share positions. That's the box right there that you show. And that basically, once you have nothing left in a position, 0 shares left, it'll still show you what you've realized on the day on that position. So I like to know at the end of the day, like all the different stocks that I've traded, how much I've made on each of them. So you're gonna wanna show those 0 share positions there. Here are all the columns that I personally have. Again, I would just copy this and make sure that you have all those columns. I think those are the important ones to have. Because I do. So maybe you disagree, and you're welcome to change that yourself. But this is what I like to have here. And again, I kind of wish that I had some positions open or something so you guys could see what it looks like. But again, symbol. This is whether it's short or long. This is how much I've realized in profits on the day. This is the last price that the stock traded. Here's my average cost. I like comparing the average cost to what the last thing is, so I can see, how many cents a share I'm up or whatever. This is how many total shares I have. This is the total market value of those shares. This is how much I'm up unrealized. So, once I start realizing it in, it goes over to this column. And that's pretty much, that's all there is for that one. So I like to leave plenty of space in case I'm trading a lot of different tickers. Sometimes I have to make this a little bit longer if I'm trading a ton of tickers, but yeah, that's how you set that one up. This is the order box, and this is for live orders. I personally like to separate orders and trades, and those are two different concepts, which is weird because outside of DAS, they're really not. But on DAS, it's nice because you can separate them. So here, basically what you want to do is you go to trade again, and you pull up this orders tab. You can see, again, orders and trades are two separate things. So this is the orders page, and this is, for me, I have this set. If you go to config, I don't show closed orders. So basically that means an order only shows up here if it is an open live order that has not been completely filled yet. And you can, again, copy my columns on this. You can see here, this is what I have. I think this is the best, but you're welcome to change this, but this is helpful here. All these X's will appear. This is how you can cancel an order by clicking on the X. Status is, I guess if it's open or canceled, or I guess partially filled. I think that's mainly what it is. This is the symbol. This is whether it's short or long. This is how many you're trying to get. This is how many are still open. That's the price. Route. I forget what that one is. Time, obviously time, and then if it's day or day plus or whatever. So I like these columns, and you're welcome to copy them if you want. So trades, this is what's cool about DAS Trader. It actually shows you what time you got filled, what the symbol is, whether you're buying or selling, what the price is, and what the quantity is. So say I buy 10,000 shares of a stock. If I get filled in 4 separate increments, it doesn't fill me 10,000 at once. Maybe it fills me 2,500 and then 5,000 and then 2,000 and then 500 or something like that. Each of those would show up as an individual trade on this thing. So I can see every single one of my fills at what price it was, and it's pretty freaking cool. So if I go to configs here, here's what I have. I have the background as static white. I have buys as blue. I have sells as red. And you can see I only have these columns right here. So again, I would copy that, and you're going to be set on these trades. So you can pull this out, make this bigger. I personally also, when I'm recording, have my Cobra trades here. That's why this is only taking up half the screen. I don't know if you can see that there, but that's why it's like that. And then I have other Cobra stuff down here, the same type of thing. So the orders and the positions. So that's why it looks like this. But if you just have one brokerage, maybe you want to make this a little bit bigger. But that's completely up to you. The last thing that I haven't talked about yet is the clock. And that's, I believe, where is that? Under tools? Yeah, it's under tools. You go to market clock, and it's down here. I personally like to show the date. So you can right click on that, click show date. You can change the color. You can change the background color. I personally like to have it like this. You can count down to market, market open. It thinks the market open, I guess. Count down to market close if you want, just so you know how much time you have left. Personally, I just have it as as the normal clock because that's what's most important to me when I'm recording. It's helpful to be able to see, you know, like if you record your screen, to go back and look at, oh, this happened at this exact time. And if you speed it up, it helps to show, you know, that it's been sped up. So that's why I have this market clock here. All right, let's see what else. So there's a few other things that I actually don't really use, but you might find useful. So I just want to talk about those very, very briefly. If you go, I believe, all right, well, the alerts, this is one. So if you want to add like a price alert on a stock, you would do it here. You go to add alert. I would turn off the loop, read out the alert items, and you know, you can add one right here. So say, you know, you want to be alerted if the level 1 ask is equal to, or I don't know, maybe greater than or equal to $10 because you're waiting for a breakout on this stock. All right, that's how you do it. You add that there, and you know, it's pretty straightforward, and then it's gonna let you know. I personally don't really use that very much because I tried it one time and it was super annoying, but it is there if you want to look into that. There's a couple other things. You know, there are scanners here. I don't use that. There is news here. I also don't use that. So those are just a couple things that you could use if you wanted. There's also, I believe, you can get like a list of tickers and stuff like that, market viewer, stuff like that. I personally don't use any. I don't have a watch list or anything like that. I don't personally use that, but you know, if you wanted to, I guess you could do that on here, but it's just not something that I use. I get my news from other sources, you know, my alerts from other sources, so that's why I don't personally use that. If you're in the Discord, again, you know, you don't really need to waste space with the news if I'm calling out the news, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, and then the last thing here is the screen recorder. They actually do have a pretty cool built-in screen recorder, not only for recording you know, your screen. So if you want to record your trades and go back and watch them and be like, wow, I really screwed up there. I think it's helpful to be able to know what happened in real time, because sometimes your memory can be a little different about, you know, different than what actually happened. So I honestly would recommend that all you guys, you know, record your trades, because I think it's very helpful to be able to go back and look back on that type of stuff. You also have built-in screenshotter here, so you can capture the full screen, you can capture a specific area, you know, if you want, yada, yada, yada. I'm gonna capture this right here. So pretty cool, and I haven't used that feature much because I record with Camtasia, but I may actually start using that if it's a little easier, so I'm just gonna look into that eventually at some point. So that is that for that, and that's pretty much it for everything except the setup of these 3 things. So I do want to go into that. I guess the one other thing would be hotkeys. So there actually is quite a lot. You know, DAS is very customizable. It might seem overwhelming at first, but the main point of this is if you take the time to learn it, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so helpful, guys. It's like the back of your hand. So this is the one thing that I haven't really done yet. I'm gonna keep this here just so that we can reference this in a second here. So basically, let's dive into all of these different setup things for this, I guess, the montage, the time and sales, and the chart. So where should we start? Let's start with the time and sales because it's easiest, right? So you go to config, and you can see here, I personally configured the different colors so that it is it's automatically what I want it to be. So I want it to be, if it's below the bid, I want it to print purple. So that's how I have this set. And I want it to be, if it's above the ask, I want it to print yellow. So that's personally what I like. Now I think it defaults to pink below the bid and like an extra brighter green above the ask, and then this green is different. So I personally changed this one. I made it, you know, as green as it can be. I made this one yellow. Inside, I like it to be white. Red at bid, you know, whatever. Purple below the bid. That's personally how I like it. I also don't have time on the time and sales. If you want to, you can add that like that. I personally don't have it. You can also have the exchange if you want to see. I also don't have that. And there's, you know, there's a couple other things that you can add if you wanted. But again, you know, for me, it takes up too much space, and all I care about really is the price and the quantity. So that's all I have there. And that's pretty much it. The only other thing that I would recommend doing is unclicking this share divided by 100, just because that will, yeah, I personally like seeing all of the quantities. It depends what your preference is. I like to see everything, but you know, if you don't want to see those 1 share prints or something, you could do share divided by 100. And I'm pretty sure there also may be a way that you can limit what you see. I could be wrong on that. Maybe that's just on Schwab. But for me, I like to see everything, so I just leave it like that. I get rid of that, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, yeah, there it is. No, so see, show only sales with a quantity, greater than 100. So maybe you don't want to see anything unless it's like a large print, because that's all you care about. You're trading a big stock like Apple or something, and you don't care about the one share prints, or Tesla. You only care about the big prints. That's fine. You can put the filter in like that. I personally don't use that because I like to see everything, but you could put that if you wanted to. You can also change the font. You can change the size. You can change the color. I mean, it's very, very, very customizable. And I mean, seriously, man, it's pretty crazy. You can change the text color. You can change the background color of the monitor groups. You can change everything, man. It's very, very customizable. So that is what is awesome about this. And then what I recommend doing is, before you go through and set everything up, I would go and make one of these be perfect, and then set it as the default, because that way when you open up a new time and sales like I showed you, it's gonna make sure that it comes in and it already has all these settings exactly as you want it. If you open up 5 different windows for these time and sales, and then you go through and do some of these things, especially like with the charts, if you go and open up all the charts and then try to customize them, it's only gonna do it for the new ones, so you're gonna make your life a big hassle. So I would recommend customize it and then go through and open up all of them. So just open up one set of each of these, customize them exactly how you want them, and then from there you can open up the new charts, the new montages, the new time and sales. So let's go here real quick just so you guys can see this. This is where you can see several very, very important things. So I personally like to have this default to VWAP, but yeah, basically if you right click right here, you can change a lot of different things to see very important data. So you can check and see what the dollar volume is today. Microsoft has traded, $500 million today. That's not super interesting on a stock like Microsoft, but if you go, to a stock like OTC stocks like we trade, ILUS. Wow, ILUS has traded $5 million today. That's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So it's helpful to know that. So you can go through there and put that in. Another thing that I like to have is the limit up, limit down. Now, this is not something that happens on an OTC stock because those don't halt. But if you're trading a NASDAQ, it's very helpful to know where the limit up and the limit down prices are. And this is telling you exactly where the stock has its halt bands at. So, if you're trading something super low float and super sketchy, like, RHE or something like this, is that crazy supernova, or, ACY that's always halting. If you go in here and you put in the limit up, limit down, you're going to know exactly where that halt band is. So you're going to know, all right, well, if it gets going and ripping, it's going to go into an up halt right here. So it's just helpful to know that, so you can kind of be prepared and use your stops accordingly to avoid getting stuck in an up halt or stuck in a down halt, etc. So I do like having that little feature right there. And then yeah, let's go down a little more. So you can customize here several things. So level 2 configure. That's going to be right here. I personally have a couple things set. So default, what it does is if you click on the level 2, it'll automatically change the price that you have in this little box. So you can see if I go here, it changes the price automatically from market to limit 998. If I click on 1004, it moves it to that. 1013 moves it to that. Pretty cool. But something that I don't like is the fact that it defaults to changing both the order size and the route when you click on the level 2. I'm not a big fan of that, so I changed it so that it doesn't do that, and it basically it keeps the default, and it keeps the same order size. So I like to buy, if I'm buying 1,000 shares, I want to buy 1,000 shares. I don't want to buy everything off the ask just because that's what the ask is, or maybe this ask is only 100 and I want to buy 1,000, but it drops it to 100. That's just annoying. So I would get rid of that personally. You could change all the color tiers. I personally would just leave it the default, but if you want to have something different up here, if you want to have the first row be green, you can default all that stuff. First row be pink, second row be blue. You can change all that stuff right here. Honestly, I would just leave it, but you can change it if you want. The price format, you're going to want to show 4 decimals because this defaults to, I believe it's just 2 decimals. So if you're trading a stock like ILUS, which is, in the pennies, you're not going to see anything besides 0.25, and that's really annoying. So you're going to want to see 0.52525, 0.2510. So again, to do that, you want to click this drop-down menu and change it to 4 decimals. Honestly, I would just probably copy most of this stuff if I were you. I would do show quote size in number of shares, not in number of lots. So, you know, if you log on and you haven't changed this, it defaults to number of lots, which is annoying because I want to see the exact number of shares. I don't want to see the number of lots. So it defaults to lots, which is annoying. So it might show, you know, 1 or 4 or 5 or, you know, 10 there, which is, it's just annoying. It's basically like divides by 100. So I don't want it to be like that. And I got rid of that by clicking that box right there. So that's how you get rid of that. That's pretty much all the main things that I have here. You can put time and stuff like that. Honestly, I think just market maker ID, price, and size of the, you know, the bid or the ask. That's the only thing you need here. That's pretty much the only thing I would change here. I would hide that. I think it defaults to that, and that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure in terms of that. So once you get all this stuff set up, again, set as default, because that way whenever you open a new Montage, it's going to automatically make it like that, which is just going to be great in, you know, saving you time when you're setting this up. So that is what I would do on that one. Sorry guys, my video cut off there. All right, but I'm back, and now you have a pretty good understanding of this. The one other thing that you do want to do is you want to actually talk to, I guess it depends. If you're trading NASDAQs, you do want this. If you're not, you don't need this. But basically, you can talk to you know, whoever your broker is and get them to enable the indication price. I think it costs a little bit per month if you're trading NASDAQs a lot, which will tell you what the stock is indicating out of the Halt, so you can know, whether it's going to gap up or gap down, etc. So that's something that you would have to ask for. So yeah, that's pretty much it here. Something you're going to want to look at is on the route config. You can set it so, you know, if you're trading a specific exchange, it has a specific thing that it defaults to. So, you know, U is OTC BB. So, you know, you can have it default to a specific, specific market maker. You can get rid of the routes. You could change the routes so that they pull up different things based on, based on what, I guess, what type of ticker it is, you know. So this is a pink sheet, so you can see the little U there. I mean, it's a pink sheet, so you can default all these orders to come up differently. These are the different routes that you can use. And something I do want to mention briefly, just in case I haven't talked about it before, is if you are trading a stock that is over $1, you're going to want to use OTC BL. It won't let you use OTC XL. If you are trading a stock that is under $1, that is OTC, you're going to want to use OTC XL, because if you use the limit, it's going to default to ARCA, which will charge you, I believe it is 45 times the amount for routing fees. So if you route for an OTC stock under $1, you pay 0.0001 per share routing fee. If you default to limit, if you do limit, which defaults to ARCA, I believe, you're going to end up paying, I believe it's 0.0045, which again is 45 times as much. So it might not sound like a lot, but if you're buying, 100,000 shares, that's $450 routing fee instead of $10. I did that on accident one time. That was all I needed to make sure that I never ever do that again. So to make sure you don't do that, you want to go to the order template, and I personally like to type in several different things. So you can turn off use global default here. And what I do personally for SpeedTrader Pro is I would apply this setting to all exchanges. I would just route this through OTC XL and just apply the setting to all exchanges, because that makes sure that you're not going to accidentally click limit. I would also, type in whatever default you might use. Maybe it's going to be 10,000. Maybe it's going to be 50,000. I think I have my default set to 50K right now, but you can do whatever you want. Time and force, I would have this set to day. This, I just leave it blank, and then the account is going to be the account that you use. So it's pretty straightforward. And then, I would apply this, and I would apply it to all exchanges. And again, I would do this before you pull up any of these other ones, because hopefully by doing that, it's going to default to OTC XL on all these other montages that you pull up in the future. So I think that's pretty much it here. I do want to mention just a couple of these things. You can see this is where you type in the number of shares. So 50,000 shares. Here's the display, and this is something that is super important, guys. And the reason for that is you are actually allowed to use reserve orders because this is a direct access brokerage. Now, you may not know what that means, but that means that if you're taking any type of size, I can buy 50,000 shares, or I can buy, 200,000 shares, but I can show only 2,500. So, this would say, if it were me, it would say OTC X 2505, and it would only say 2,500 on the bid, but I'm actually trying to buy 200K. So that way, I'm not spooking people, or I'm not getting people to bid over me, and I'm actually getting filled because I'm not giving away my true size. And same thing goes, if you're selling something, you can sell on the ask, and you can only show 2,500 shares. Let me rephrase that. You can show only 2,500 shares. You can choose to show as many as you want. You can show 5,000, 10,000, whatever. Now it depends. You got to check and see what the minimum amount that you see on the level 2 is, because I think it depends on the price. If you get a cheaper stock, the minimum might be 5,000, or the minimum might be 10,000. If I go, let's see, what's a super cheap stock? SWRM. If I go here, you can see the minimum is only 10,000. So the smallest display amount that I could do would be 10,000. If I go to a super expensive OTC, like, I'm trying to think, bro. Call it TCHY. TCEHY. You can see I could do 100. You know what I'm saying? So I could buy 5,000 shares, but only show 100 on the bid. And it's super, super helpful when you're trying to avoid getting overbid, over asked. And it just allows you to be so much more precise with your orders. And I'm a huge, huge fan of this. So definitely take advantage of this feature right here. A couple other things. If you are on a brokerage where you want to make sure that you're adding liquidity, because certain brokerages like Cobra, for example, if you add liquidity, say, you sit on the ask to sell, or you sit on the bid to buy, you get charged less of a routing fee. Now here at SpeedTrader Pro, that's not a thing. But at something like Cobra, for certain routes, it may be a thing. So to make sure that you add liquidity, you click on this. This just goes to show post only. So when checked, this order will be sent with instructions to post only on the book to make sure to add liquidity. So if you're using a limit order, you can check this, and that makes sure that you're adding liquidity, which means you're not going to get charged those extra routing fees. Now again, that's not a thing on SpeedTrader Pro, but it's just cool to know that, by doing that. So also, if you have any questions, you can click on this question mark here, and it will tell you what all these things are and what they do. So it's pretty cool, and yeah, I'm just a big fan of this. This is for shorting or selling. If you're currently flat, it's going to say short. If you have a long position, it's going to say sell. This is for canceling the order. Now, this only cancels the most recent order for this ticker. And, if you click it once, you cancel the order. If you had another order before that and you hit cancel again, it's not going to cancel that. So you're going to have to go over here and hit cancel here. Unless you have these hot buttons, which I will talk about in a second. The other thing is replace. So you can replace your most previous order. Sometimes this works. Sometimes it doesn't work. I'm not sure what makes it change. Maybe if you get filled a little bit or something, it doesn't work. But if you haven't gotten filled anything, then maybe it does work. I'm not sure exactly. Sometimes this does work, sometimes it doesn't. But this is something you actually have to chat in with SpeedTrader. You have to chat in with their chat and have them enable this for you. So that's one thing you have to have them enable order replacing. Otherwise, it will default to not let you replace orders. The other one thing that you do want to have them. You want to chat in and have them enable is the trading of foreign stocks. So if you want to trade something like EENF, you would have to chat in and get them to enable that, because they do not allow the trading of foreign stocks automatically. And now, if you get this enabled, they actually do allow the trading of these stocks, and there is no extra commission. So Fidelity, you would pay like an extra $50 fee to trade this stock. On SpeedTrader, you're not paying an extra anything. You just have to chat in and make sure that they enable that. So that is pretty cool. The last thing that I want to talk about for the montage is if you right click here and you go to trading settings, it's going to pull this up right here. Now there's a couple very key things that you want to make sure that you have, because otherwise you're going to be very confused and it's going to be really annoying. And this is something that I dealt with, so I'm making this, adding this to make sure that you guys don't deal with this. So what I like to have is I want to default to the position after a symbol's entered. So like if you quickly type in a ticker, if you currently have a position, it's going to default the number of shares to what your position is. So that's helpful. What I don't like having is set the number of shares to position after execution and number of shares decline with execution. So you want to have this personally, if you want to have it like I have it set up, you want to make sure this is clicked and make sure this is unchecked. And I don't want to reset the default shares after execution. You might not. If I change this, like say it's 50,000, but I want to type in 20,000 and buy 20,000, I want it to stay as 20,000. I don't want it to go back to 50,000 after I execute. And basically, this is going to make sure that when you are buying something, it doesn't automatically default to your position, which is super annoying and super dangerous for beginners. Because when I first came into DAS, I bought 100 shares of like Apple or something, right? And it stayed as 100 because I, had 100 shares. It defaulted, the number of shares that I had to my position. I bought another 100, and then suddenly this became 200. So now when I wanted to buy more, I wanted to buy another 100, but it ended up defaulting, to 200 because that was my position. So I bought 200 instead. Now I have 400. If I wanted to add another 100, it would automatically default to 400. So it's very easy to like double up on your size and just get screwed like that. So I would definitely recommend avoiding that if you can. Now the other cool thing right here is adding an alias. So this allows you to basically blur out your account number in some of the important sections if you are recording. I have this blurred out here, but you can put any number of asterisks. That's all it allows you to do. It doesn't allow you to have any other names. You can't like type in SpeedTrader account or something like that. So you just put some asterisks there, and that way it blurs it out if you're recording the main screen, which is pretty helpful. And if you want to have it default to buy bid, sell ask, if the price box is empty. I personally have this clicked. Don't have send order confirmation. Basically, I just want it to automatically send. I don't want to have to click confirm. Makes it faster to place orders, and I don't want to reset to the default route after execution. I want to leave it as whatever it was there. Pretty normal. I mean, all these things you can read through and see what these are and see if any of these are something that you might want to click. These are personally the settings that I use. So that's what that is. And then the last thing is if you want to delete certain routes so that you make sure you never ever use them, you can click this box right here which says don't automatically load route list. And remember, if you go in here, you can set the specific routes that appear, if it's an OTC Pink stock or OTC BB stock or a NASDAQ, whatever, you can set those routes in that route list. So if you don't want it to automatically reload the correct route list from your broker, if you want to get rid of pretty much all the routes except the one that you always use, I would click this box so it doesn't automatically refresh the route list. Because I wanted to make sure I only used OTCXL, so I deleted all the other routes, but then they just came right back the next day, when it reloaded those route lists. So personally, I don't need this because if you default right here, under the order template, if you default it to a specific route, you don't need to delete all the other routes. But if you did want to do that, that is how you would make sure that they don't come back. And that's pretty much it for the Montage page, guys. Honestly, that's pretty much it. I guess there is one more thing. Yeah, so the one other thing that I do want to talk about is the buttons here. Now, I am just getting into this. I have never used these before. I'm just getting into this weekend, but this is going to be so helpful because this is basically like a hotkey on your screen, and it can save you a ton of time. So the way this works is you go here. Where is it? Here. You go to Layout Config, and then you move all this stuff over. So you're going to want to go here, move this over, move this over. I personally have Hot button, and then I have Trade. So once you do that, it looks like this. And you can right click to add a button. So I would add a row. If you want to have 5 buttons in the row like me, go for it. So now you got all these buttons, and you can customize these buttons to do literally, well, no, I guess not anything, but pretty much anything that you want. So to customize, a button like this right here, I go to Edit, right click and Edit, and you just got to put the script in there. So you might be wondering, David, I don't know how to code a button. I don't know what that means. How do I figure out the script? Well, it's pretty easy. So remember I had that hotkey thing before. Again, you go to, what is it? Give me 2 seconds, sorry. I'm trying to find it on this side. yeah, so you go to setup in the top left of the main thing, and you go to hotkey. Now, again, this is the hotkey thing, so I already have it open. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add new item, which is pretty cool. New script building. So again, this still looks probably pretty confusing, but if you want to trade, which you do, you go down here and you can see these are all the different commands that it can do. So, if I want to set the price for the order to be 0, or I want to set it to the bid, or I want to set it to the ask, or I want it to be, the ask plus a certain amount of whatever, plus 3 cents or plus 3/100th of a cent. This is how you do that right here. So it's pretty cool. And, this is how you build it. Now, you can see pre-built scripts right here. And you can copy this in and you can paste it. But what I actually like doing, this is my favorite thing to do, and this is what I did just to build this button right here. You go to Order Script Wizard, and you can basically type in anything you want here. If you want to have a buy. Now, just to know real quick, buying is the same thing as covering, and selling is the same thing as shorting. There's no distinction in the hotkeys. So if I wanted to buy, a certain amount of shares, man, maybe buy half of my buying power. I want to put half of my account into this freaking stock. You could do it like this. Or, if I want to buy half of my current position, so add half again. Or I want to double my current position. All these things, you can do that right here, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Now, personally, I just have this hotkey here set to be 200K, so you can make it 200,000, or you can make it 50,000, whatever you want. Let's make it 50,000. You can set the symbol. That's going to automatically default to the symbol that's on the Montage. The price, you can have it be a lot of different things. You can have it be your average cost. So you want to buy more at the limit of your average cost in case it comes back down there. You want to buy on the bid, or you want to buy below the bid, or you want to buy above the bid. You want to buy at the high of day. You want to buy, any of these things, guys. It's pretty cool. Personally, you can do, I think I did ask plus 0.0001, or you can do 001 or 05, whatever you want. It's just so customizable. The routes, you can default, you can actually type it in. So OTCX, you can show the quantity. I personally defaulted to show 10K just because that pretty much will always work, no matter how small it is, no matter what the price is. And yeah, I mean, it's just freaking cool, guys. So very, very customizable. Some of the other ones that you can do, again, you can go to add new item here. Well, I guess, sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, guys. Bear with me here. So buy, call it 50,000 shares. 50,000 shares. Symbol defaults to, price is, ask plus 0.001. Call it account, default account, route OTCXL. TIF is day. Show quantity, let's do 10,000. No stop type. Load and send. So this is the different things. Basically, this allows you to just load it in, and then you would have to click buy or click sell to do it. Load and send, it literally will just place the order with one click. So you can do it there. So then you hit build script, and then you just copy this in right here. That's all you got to do. Copy in. And then I go back to this button right here, whatever button I want, hit edit, and then I paste the script in right there. So pretty dope. Change the background color if it's buying. I think that's the easiest way. So just saves you from having to say buy because it's green. It's pretty obvious. Text color black, default to that. And I would say, 200. No, wait, this is 50K. 50K A plus 0.001. And that way, I can see I'm buying 50K on the ask plus 0.001, which is pretty cool, man. A couple other things you can do. You can cancel all the orders. So if I go, where's that? If I go add new key, add new item, trade. If I go to cancel, where is that? There we go, cancel. So you can cancel all your buy orders, cancel all your sell orders, cancel. Personally, what I would do if you're going to add a button is I would add cancel all symbol, and that way you're going to cancel all orders for this symbol. So again, if you just hit this order, it's only going to cancel your most recent. It's only going to cancel your most recent order. But if you do cancel all symbol, it's going to be able to cancel every single order that you have currently live for this symbol and this symbol only. So it's going to leave all the other orders that you have for other, other symbols open, but it's going to cancel all of them for this one. So that's another button that I'm personally going to be adding once I finish customizing it. So that's just an example there. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for these hotkeys. The last thing that I want to go into, I know it's a very long video, so I do apologize, but all this stuff is very important. Last thing I want to go into is the charts. So to edit this stuff, there's a couple things you want to do. So configure is where you're going to edit this. Personally, I like to have crosshairs. So you can see here, if I switch it here, you can see it defaults, and I have these pink crosshairs, which allows me to calculate support and resistance lines, etc. So the way you do that is you go here and you set these lines, make this pink, background color, etc. And I like to draw the crosshair when the mouse moves. And again, to toggle back between, it's just the mouse, crosshair, etc. The other thing that you want to change on here is the number of decimals. Again, it defaults to, I believe, 2 decimals. You want to make it 4, so when you're trading these cheap stocks, you can see all of the different price things. Another thing you want to adjust is this zoom speed. You want to make this fast, so that way when you're zooming in and out, it does it relatively quickly. If it's slow, it's really annoying to try to get out of all of those things. So yeah, that's pretty much it on here. I'm fairly certain. There's not too much that I like to edit on here, and I think besides that, you save this as the default, which means that when you start opening it again in these new charts to build out your entire desktop, it's going to default to what you just built there. So a couple other things: data config, not data config. Sorry, well, actually maybe data config. I think you want to show. This is how you can show pre and post market. If you want to have blank bars where if it doesn't print something, it has that. You could do that. That's personally just how I have it set up here. So you do want to see pre and post market. The other thing is the study config. So there's a couple things here that you can edit. You can edit the color of the candles. So you go here and then you config this. So personally, this is how I have it set up. Again, I would just copy this if you want it to look like mine. I have these set to dark gray, which basically that's the wick. I think it defaults to having the wick be colored, which I don't like. It has some funky things here, so I have a default to this, and this is how I like to have mine. Again, feel free to copy it. The other thing you're going to want is VWAP, so you pull that off from the side here. If you go down, scroll down, VWAP, hit select, and it's basically going to move it over here. You can configure VWAP too. I do calculate VWAP for pre and post market hours, because if there's a ton of trading in pre-market, it can make a big difference. So I would click this box, I would make it yellow, and I would not have these, but if you want them, you can have the standard deviations, upper VWAP, lower VWAP here. I don't have that, yeah, that's how you do that. Same thing down here. You got a study config to change the volume. It defaults to blue for certain volumes. I'm not a fan of that, so basically you have no border. You got to click that, and up color red. I mean green, down color red. Borderline, I think it defaults to blue, so I turn it off and then I make it white. And yeah, you can have the average volume if you want. I don't have that, but this is going to make it so you get colored and then it's white when it's like a doji candle or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for here. The very last thing you're going to want to do is, if you go there, you go to chart area. Well, you can't see that. That's kind of annoying. Let me move this real quick. You right click here, you go to chart area, and you config the area. Here are a couple other things that you want to do. So again, you can copy, make it exactly like I have mine. You want to show your trades, because that's going to show you the little arrows where you actually place your trades, man, which is pretty cool, because you can see your trades on the chart, see where you bought, see where you sold. Very, very helpful. I would keep the triangle size this. I think I would keep most of this other stuff the same. If you see something here that's different, you can change it. I personally turn off show study info. I don't need to see VWAP, printed up here at the top. I like to have the previous close line that shows you, where the red-green level is on the day for the stock. And I personally leave show ruler, show label, all that stuff. I don't like the log scale. I like it just to be normal log scale. Basically, like the higher it goes, the more it has to move up for it to be the same amount. I don't like that. It makes it look weird. So I would turn that off. And that's pretty much it, guys. Honestly, I think that's pretty much it. down here. You can have like your average position costs and stuff like that, but I don't have any of that stuff. And again, man, remember to save those as default. Make sure you save that as default, so it's gonna do all that stuff when you're moving forward. And then now you have this set up for life, man. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it. I know this is a super long tutorial, but this is what I have mine looking like, and it's pretty nice, man. It's pretty nice. So you can see here, I have multiple charts. I found that vertical charts work a lot better just for showing stuff than horizontal charts. So just keep that in mind. This is probably going to be the cleanest setup if you have Montage here, time and sales here, as small as it can possibly go, and then you have the chart set up like this. So that is personally how I would do it. You don't have to necessarily do it like that, but this is what I would recommend. You can, if you have a wider desktop, you can fit a bunch of these on there. Even above here, I have a whole bunch of other ones on my top desktop, so you can get a lot of different charts here. And yeah, it looks pretty clean, guys. So that's it. Very, very long video, but hopefully you guys will find this helpful. Really is a great brokerage. Really does make a big, big difference. Being able to get those locates, being able to hide your size with reserves, being able to trade those foreign stocks without any fees. I mean, it's just great in general. I love DAS. I love SpeedTrader. Remember, if you made it this far, remember to use my SpeedTrader referral link down in the description. I will get you guys. What is it? I think I get you guys get a free month of the software as well as lifetime discounted commissions. I have been speaking directly to the CEO. Pretty cool, man. So I'm very grateful that he's been that responsive. Big shout out to SpeedTrader and the CEO. And definitely think you guys will love this brokerage as much as I do. So yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, you know the drill. Let's grow better together. Bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.